It's just before 9 a.m. and Julie is getting her children ready for school. But like millions of other Australian children right now, these kids are being taught at home.
It was my worst nightmare. That was the first thing that went through my mind. And then after that was, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it properly. It's all or nothing.
Okay, your budget, Reed. Just have a look for a second.
Julie's children range from year 1 through to year 10.
The day's planned out in hourly blocks, and every hour is accounted for.
We all love the beach.
Every week we've been learning about a different culture, a different country. So when we learned about Italy, for example, we made tiramisu, we made pasta, we made pizza.
So we're going to read The Rabbit.
Julie's a freelance writer and fits her flexible hours around the school day. She says what's been tough for every Australian parent is mixed messaging about whether schools should stay open.
I'm not a teacher and I'm not a doctor. So I'm not the expert here, and we're relying on the government to give us this information, and it's not coming as clearly as it should be.
Being told that somehow schools were different, that there was an exception, that you could gather in groups of less than 50, except at school where over 50 would be fine somehow, just seemed completely inconsistent and confusing to parents.
After opposing school closures throughout March, last week the federal government announced that states and territories could decide for themselves.
What all parents need to understand is that we live in a federation, and each state and territory under that federation have responsibility for the decisions that are made when it comes to schools.
What's emerged is far from consistent. Term 2 started last week in Victoria. All students were told to study from home, with schools available for children who don't have access to equipment or supervision. It'll be the same in Tasmania when Term 2 starts there next week. New South Wales parents are also being encouraged to keep children at home if they can, with a staggered return to school flagged from mid-May. In the Northern Territory, all students were expected back in the classroom this week. South Australia and Western Australia will keep schools open, but leave the final choice up to parents. In Queensland, at least the first 5 weeks of Term 2 will be online. Schools are still open for kids who can't stay home. The ACT is also encouraging remote learning, with a few schools kept open for limited supervision.
The medical expert panel, which is made up of the Commonwealth Chief Medical Officer and all state and territory medical officers, has said consistently right through this pandemic that schools are safe to be open and it's safe for children to attend. The point that they've made is that we need to put in place measures to protect our teachers, and they're continuing to update that advice of the types of measures that schools can put in place.
Hi everyone, as you're joining, feel free to say hello and then just mute your microphone and make sure...
Many teachers are frustrated.
I'm still learning how to use this technology, so please...
Victorian high school teacher Jem Colber says last term was stressful for her and her colleagues.
The PM tells us that we need to be keeping 1.5 metres distance, and it's just completely impossible to do in a classroom. So I actually, I spent the last couple of weeks of term feeling quite angry and anxious.
She's now teaching her classes remotely, but is concerned by ongoing debate around school closures.
There's a message out there that teachers are glorified babysitters, overpaid babysitters actually. So that has been a bit frustrating, because if you're a teacher, you believe in education rather than supervising students.
I think teachers are feeling exactly like cannon fodder. People would talk about how it was so important to keep schools open for healthcare workers, as if teachers didn't matter, as if teachers didn't deserve to even be consulted.
The federal government says it's doing what it can to take the concerns of teachers on board.
We all understand that it's not a babysitting role, it's an educating role, and we want those teachers playing that role, and I think that's what everyone wants to see, and if everyone can keep playing their role in flattening the curve, hopefully that's what we'll have in 4 to 6 weeks, is teachers back in the classroom doing their role, which is educating.
Some parents have no choice but to keep sending their children to school.
I don't have that level of expertise that a teacher has, and I have a commitment to continue to work for the pregnant women of Logan. And I really felt myself in in a tough spot as to, how would I juggle that priority.
As a midwife, Jude Coos is an essential worker. Her daughter Monica will attend school from the start of term 2. She's comfortable with this decision, but also wants the states, territories and federal government to be more consistent with their messaging.
Just adds to that level of anxiety of how's this going to affect me and the people I work with. I'm not alone. I'm one of thousands of frontline workers going through the same thing.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.